I want you to picture the scene. You've just discovered your favourite bodybuilder's training routine. You're excited to start, you've taken a pre-workout, you get to the gym and give it your all. You get a huge pump, feel like you've finally found the perfect training setup. But 3 weeks later, you're exhausted, sore and considering quitting. So what went wrong? You're following the exact training program that got your favourite influencer all of his gains that he's now been so kind to give you for a small payment of £40 a month. So why do you feel like you've hit a brick wall? This is something that people struggle to get to grips with, but much like calorie intake, the perfect amount of training volume and intensity for you is different to everyone else's. And so following anyone's split to the letter, whether that be mine or someone else's, is always going to leave you feeling like something is a little off. The reality is you're probably doing too much, or perhaps too little. And the only way to find out how much is just right for you personally is by following the exact steps I'm about to lay out in this video. So first of all, we need to understand how volume actually works. You've probably seen people go on about how they only do 2 sets per exercise, but blindly following that and assuming you found the cheat code is going to be leaving gains on the table. The general rule is you want to be finding yourself in a weekly volume range that lands you between your MEV, the minimum effective volume you can make progress on, and MRV, which is the maximum you can recover from. This differs substantially for each individual, but typically this will be anywhere from 4 to 8 weekly sets as MEV and as high as 24 sets as MRV. But the key thing here is finding the balance between enough volume to progress on and not eating into recovery capabilities. For most, the volume needed to progress is substantially lower than you think, and most will benefit from starting at that 4 to 6 weekly set landmark and assessing from there. If you find yourself adding reps to each set or increasing weight with very minimal fatigue or soreness the next day, you probably have scope to add another set, and you essentially want to add an additional set every few weeks until you get to the point at which you start to feel recovery capabilities diminish. And ultimately, even if we can add sets, sometimes there is no need. For reference, all of my clients have weekly volumes of below 10 sets a week, and for myself, some muscle groups only have 4 sets per week and are growing faster than ever. The important thing is that we are either adding reps or load to the sets we are doing, keeping execution accurate and maintaining that level of execution the same every week. So even if at the very minimum we're doing 4 sets a week but progressing them, we will be growing muscle. As a general rule, the majority of us will benefit from doing less sets. Our ability to recover from a training stimulus isn't limited exclusively by the time we spend in the gym itself, but it's also other life stresses, calorie intake, sleep quality, and generally our daily lifestyles outside of the gym. Most of us that aren't bodybuilders and can't dedicate our lives to recovery ultimately do have high levels of stress or sleep poorly, or have the occasional beer, and that means that naturally our ability to recover from training is far less than studies could suggest. So it's probably sensible to account for this. So you're probably asking, what does this actually look like in practice? You're going to want a weekly routine that allows you to train each body part twice a week. Usually this will be an upper-lower or full body setup, as we also want ample time off the gym. Anything above 4 training days a week is unnecessary for most. From here, we then split up our total weekly volume across our sessions. So if running an upper-lower, you might have 2 sets in your first session and then 2 sets in your second session per body part as a basis to start from. The priority from there on is to purely make those 2 sets as effective as possible. You take them close to failure, you spend time ruthlessly refining execution, and then and only then can you assess whether you need more volume. The guys that make the most progress are the ones that can get the most out of the very least, and don't just add a ton of volume because that's what their favourite influencer does. So give this a go, don't rush the process, and understand that doing more in the gym very rarely equates to more gains. If you would like to completely remove the guesswork, I do have a few one-to-one coaching slots available, so if you want to find out more about those, click the link in the description and you can apply through there. Hopefully you found the video useful. If you did, drop it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.